the answer for how to avoid paying inheritance tax to this government? Just get a field and put some donkeys in it.
Well, there are, lots of ways that people talk about you can get around doing this, but the problem is that this is an attack on the very foundation of family farming in Britain. What it's already meant is that some farms have already had to close down. There's also been some tragic suicides. People are
Yeah.
faced with stark issues, and the loss of farming and our food security in Britain, Mike, is so serious. We've seen that with energy, how we've had to import energy increasingly and not be self-sufficient, and what that means, particularly if you look at what's gone on with the situation with Russia and Ukraine and the consequences for us in Britain, the costs and the implications, and we cannot have that situation with food. So increasingly, it's a very, very dire security problem for us, as well as the fact that the British farmers, they're the backbone of Britain. They really represent something about our way of life. And I think, obviously the budget's going to be coming up in November. This government still has the opportunity to be sensible and do the right thing, to step back and say they've reflected on this and they're not going to do that. They're not going to impose this IHT change on farmers. And actually, Farmers to Action and Together Declaration, we're all saying abolish IHT for all. It's a death tax. Everyone's paid already income tax. They've paid capital gains tax and corporation taxes. And there's a real concern with ever increasing taxes and what it's all being spent on. I mean, that's the other concern that's happening at the moment.
Yeah.
In terms of an array of issues that often are never in any manifestos. And that's the key issue with the digital ID situation as well, Mike.
But also,
that's
they announced this thing on Friday. They made a huge thing about it, didn't they? And said that, this is going to be the way forward. This is what we're going to do to safeguard people in this country. We're going to make sure that nobody's working here who shouldn't be. But I've not heard anything from any particular cabinet member that since the Labour conference got underway, talking about ID cards at all.
Well, they're very embarrassed about this. They've got a huge backlash amongst what you might call the rank and file. And here's the issue. It's all very well putting out press releases or statements, but when you have to actually discuss the merits and the value of something, that becomes much more difficult, because you say, well, how is it going to stop the boats? In Italy, France and Germany, you have national ID schemes, and it's not stopped boats or illegal migrants, quite the opposite. And so as soon as you start presenting something, if you have to discuss it, that's a real problem. So if you look at the actual policy idea around this, it's very vague. It's very vague, and what happens is it's not got real substance. So they're kind of like loose, superficial talking points, but they don't address real concerns. And I think that's really comes to the issue. And that's why we're saying people should get involved, sign the Together Declaration, get involved, become a supporter. Remember, what we're trying to do is to make it very clear in every town, city in Britain that the public is not having this. We've been writing to MPs and councillors. We're here at Labour Party conference talking to people. We are making sure that the public's voice is heard, because, this would completely change the nature of Britain and British society, and there's no going back from it. And so we're not prepared just to let this happen. It's going to continue to fight. And I genuinely don't think they really want to have this discussion, Mike. So, it's a big problem for them.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And what's planned for today? I know you've been projecting lots of things onto buildings and things. What's been going on?
Yes. So last night we did huge projections, and today there'll be more canvassing, campaigning people outside party conference. There's people leafleting, talking to them, and also with the public, because of course what we've got is a really strong contingency of people across Merseyside, in Liverpool, in New Brighton, in the Wirral, Wallasey, Birkenhead. So we'll be out doing that again with everyone and making sure the No to Digital ID message is firmly heard. And we'd encourage all your viewers, Mike, to go to togetherdeclaration.org and show support and get involved and say no to digital ID.
Great. Alan, good to see you. Thanks very much indeed. Good luck with it. Very, very kind of you to talk to us.